Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jeff Orig and I'm going to teach you guys some DSLR filmmaking. So let us get started. Notes. I just want to say that DSLRs and filmmaking is super fun. So when you're learning this stuff, try and have some fun learning it. Everybody kind of is going along on their own journey and you're going to learn at your pace. So don't beat yourself up too much and try and have as much fun as you can, because that's why we do all this, right? Also, please, let's support each other. Work as teams, meet other people in the community, in your local community, in the online community, because really, honestly, we're all outsiders. I don't think you would be necessarily watching this if you were some huge Hollywood director, but I think maybe many of us have aspirations for that. But until then, or even when we hit that goal, let's work together and be a team and be a community. So definitely please reach out to me and reach out to each other. So with that out of the way, let's kind of just get some nitty-gritty stuff down. The purpose of this course, one, I want to make this a sort of a quick start guide to shooting professional quality video using DSLRs. And I really truly believe that the DSLR has really revolutionized filmmaking and videography. It has put Hollywood quality tools into the hands of almost anybody. This is an SL1, this is made by Canon, and this is a a relatively super inexpensive camera. It's about $500 for the body as of today, and this is a pretty decent lens that they came out with, the 10 to 18, and you can create images on this that can go into a Hollywood production. This is definitely the most basic DSLR that can shoot video in the Canon line. But if you know what you're doing, you can create amazing images, and you can tell your stories with this tool. So I totally want to share everything that I've learned over the past 15 years and more. And I've gotten really deep into shooting with DSLR. So one of the goals really is to share what I've learned. Now, DSLRs are purpose-built to shoot still photos. These were originally, they are made really for shooting stills. And it does have video features, but there's some sort of like workarounds that you need to be aware of. And so I'm gonna kind of show you all those different things. My goal with this project is to create a comprehensive film school. I went to film school, and I'm going to share all that information, and I'm going to share all the information I've learned over the years about DSLR filmmaking and videography. And you know, we have a working studio right here in Honolulu, and we shoot a ton of weddings. We shoot a lot of corporate and marketing stuff. We have a TV show locally here, as well as we're trying to get it sold internationally. We have a feature-length documentary in the works and a pilot TV show in the works. So we've shot all of this stuff with DSLR for the most part. In the beginning, before I got into DSLR, I was shooting on some video cameras, but as soon as I saw what the DSLRs could do, I fell in love right away. So I'm here to share that love with you guys. This course is separated into 5 major sections. The first is what we're doing right now, and that's the introduction. Then I'm gonna break it down into kind of how a project could unfold. So we're gonna do pre-production, production, post-production, and then I have a series of bonus guides, if you will, on like resources, the best DSLR for beginners, our gear list, and so on and so forth. So just things that are nice to have as sort of separate guides that you guys can take a look at and hopefully use and enjoy. Maybe you're wondering, who is this super handsome devil in front of you guys, right? Or maybe you're wondering, who's this freaking idiot babbling, whatever. Anyway, My name is Jeff Orig, and I own a small film production company here in Honolulu, and it's called Orig Media. You can check us out at origmedia.com. I did attend film school. I went to Columbia College in Chicago, which I thought was a pretty good film school. During college, I worked at a camera shop. I'm older. I don't think I'm old, but anyway. So this was before DSLRs really came out, and the internet was sort of just becoming this really huge thing. And so right after film school, I actually went into web design because I saw that's where media was headed. And I learned a ton of stuff there, and I'm super glad that I did, but anyway, whatever. I thought it was important for all of the people that are going to watch this to know the history of the DSLR and like the history of video in the DSLR. So if you didn't know, prior to DSLRs, you had to get like a digital camcorder, and I used to have the Sony A1U, which was a prosumer mini DV camera that could shoot HDV format, which it's 1440 by 1080. So it's not 1920 by 1080. So it's kind of high def, but it's not the highest resolution. And in fact, it shot it. I think it was 30i, which I will get into later. So just the short of it, though, is that the quality wasn't that great. And it was okay. It had XLR mic input, so you can put professional mics on there. But the video quality was just not that great. At that time, if you wanted to get cinema quality, Hollywood quality images, I think the most affordable camera at that time was the Red. And the Red is still not affordable for most people today. You can get a Red Scarlet maybe up and running for like $15,000 or $16,000. And for most people, especially people starting out, that's out of range. And I personally believe there are DSLRs now that definitely can hold their own with the Red camera. And I mean, even if you know what you're doing, you can make an image and you have the right things, the right tools surrounding this inexpensive camera, the SL1, you can get some amazing images that can compare to the Red. Granted, the Red is an amazing line of cameras. So I'm not trying to take anything away from the Red line of cameras, but what I am saying is that you can take something as simple as this or as inexpensive as this and start to get where the Red is. So here's the history. The Canon 5D Mark II had video. It wasn't the first DSLR to have video. There was a Nikon camera that had video on it, but it was the Mark II, the Canon 5D Mark II, that kind of opened the eyes for everyone that saw what it could do. And originally, Canon just added video as an afterthought. The whole idea was that journalists that were embedded somewhere super remote, photojournalists, if they were embedded somewhere remote, they could take video, short little video clips that they could post to their, let's say, their newspaper's website as just sort of supplemental material. And so Canon did not think to add professional audio, or even at that time when they first added the video on there, it had all kinds of limitations. Like I don't think it could shoot at 29:9:7, which is the North American and Japanese standard for television, and so on and so forth. It had tons and tons of limitations, but it could shoot video. And so there was a video called Reverie, and this was commissioned by Canon. Vincent Laforet was commissioned by Canon to shoot this video. And so he took his Canon 5D Mark II, or one provided to him by Canon, and he shot this short film that has just amazing image quality with the Mark II. And that sort of opened everybody's eyes to know, like, wow, this is an amazing piece of technology. And so there were other shows too that later adopted the Canon 5D Mark II, not necessarily for all primary shooting, but for additional photography. And we'll show you some examples. But some of those are the show House MD on Fox that is no longer on the air. There was a feature-length film called Act of Valor, which was shot almost entirely with the 5D Mark II. Some shots with Iron Man 2, Captain America. Because the cameras are relatively inexpensive, so you're talking about like $2,000, $3,000, maybe now you can get a Mark II for $1,500. On a Hollywood budget, they can use it as a crash cam, something they can stick on a car, crash the car, and then just pull the CF card out of it and recover the footage. For maybe you and I, we're using it as our main camera. But anyway, let me show you the example of Reverie. That one's still rolling. This is the first video so this video changed DSLR. It showed everybody what you could do. Because nobody thought of the Canon 5D Mark II as a video camera. They just only thought of it as a full camera. And then they commissioned this photographer, teaching photographer, with the video. And the reason by today's camera is because most people sell it, except that video here, like it doesn't feel very cinematic yet. But coming from where we're doing it now, this is a free He's just a still photographer. And then he slowly becomes more of a Now, I just want to kind of go into DSLR filmmaking, the pros and cons. So some of the pros, you get a high quality image at a low cost. It's a wide availability of cameras. Like you can get these cameras at Best Buy or Costco or Amazon. There's a wide range of lenses and accessories built for DSLRs, like both on the still side and on the video side now, especially now. Also, it's a small form factor. You can start with something small and add things to it to make it bigger. So if you want to balance it out, you can add a shoulder rig and make it bigger. But you can't take an inherently large camera and try and make it smaller, right? So I think it's a huge pro that it has such a small form factor. Some of the cons, though, typically most DSLRs, this is changing, but most DSLRs have a bad codec, meaning the format of the video that it shoots on is not the greatest codec choice available for video. I mean, I understand why they made the choice, and we'll talk more about that later, but just know right now it's not as beneficial as it could be. And further, typically the video compression that's used is very highly compressed. So it sort of limits what we're able to do with the image in post. not crippling, but it is a limit. Also, almost all the lenses that you can get for the DSLRs are still photography lenses, and they're built a certain way. Still photography lenses, most still photographers use autofocus, and they're focusing for one single shot. So the idea is to try and get the focus as quickly as possible. Whereas in cinematography or videography, it's not necessarily about trying to get focus as quickly as possible, but it's about holding focus and following focus on objects or subjects that are moving. And so when you have a still photography lens, it's not the greatest for focusing for video. And for a lot of the Canon cameras, as an example, autofocus in video mode is not that great. It's improving, but it's not that great. Another thing is there's a term called parfocal, and what that means is that if a lens is a zoom lens, you're zooming in and out with the lens. On higher end cinematography lenses or videography lenses, what you can do is you can zoom in and then get manual focus or focus all the way zoomed in, and then you can zoom out and it'll hold the focus. Whereas on most still lenses, they're not built that way. And the term for that is called parfocal. So most still lenses are not parfocal. So it can be challenging to zoom in and zoom back out and hold focus. And that's just one disadvantage. But I think the overall, in my opinion, the conclusion is that you can get Hollywood quality images at 10% of the cost. And that's amazing. This was not possible before. I mean, before you either had to rent a camera or know somebody that had a camera, or you had to buy film and get that film developed, and it was super outrageously expensive. So just every day I'm super thankful that we have these tools available to us. So just as another example, and I'll just include a link to this, is House. The final episode of, I believe it was season 6, the season 6 finale of House was shot with all Canon 5D Mark IIs. And this was aired on Fox. It was the season finale kind of cliffhanger episode, and they did an amazing job with the 5D Mark II. So definitely check that out and see kind of where we've come from and where we're going and what you can do with some of these tools. So thank you. That's the end of part 1. My name is Jeff Orig, and our website is www.origmedia.com. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter @origmedia. Definitely want to know what you guys are up to and how we can help you guys. Want to create a community of collaborators and colleagues. So let's join forces. Until then, aloha.